Hello, welcome everyone to Speaking with the Village right there, down at the bottom of your screen. So great to have you. It is 6 o'clock on the third Wednesday of January. Thank you to anyone who's joined. A little bit of apologies that I have not been on the past few weeks to bring you Speaking at the Village or Intro to Foster Care. It's just been a wild little bit of time getting into the new year and busy schedules, and I appreciate anyone. But next week we'll definitely be having Intro to Foster Care. It will be at the same time, 6 o'clock, live here on Thursday. Come get your questions answered. But today we are doing Speaking with the Village. So we are talking about topics that impact our kiddos and impact our foster care community, sometimes with other individuals. Sometimes I'm just coming here speaking about things I've learned, things I've seen, or just having some fun. So this is Speaking with the Village. Like I said, I am Joshua Kent, if you don't know me. And let's get going on our topic, which is research on resilience. So something I really wanted to talk about is this word we hear a lot about, and the research that is done to improve our understanding of resilience and the need for it and the importance of it when it comes down to our kiddos in foster care. So I am coming to you just with some information on resilience, what it is. If you've heard the word but don't quite really understand the importance or the need for it, I'm here to just kind of educate you a little bit, and would love to hear what you have to say about it. I want anyone who's listening, and I would just love to hear their interpretation of resilience. What resilience means to you. So, what is resilience? If anyone wants to leave comments, please do so. I would appreciate it, just to kind of hear from our community and our village what they think resilience is. And even if it's not live when we're talking here, anytime, would love to hear from our community what makes them resilient, what helps you with resilience, and what it is to you. So let's answer that question. But for today and for right now, I'm going to answer that question for you guys. So what is resilience? At the bottom of the screen there, I'll have it going. But resilience is the process and outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences. So that comes from the American Psychological Association, and that's their definition. It's successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences, and it's also makes sure that it really does go throughout mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility. It shows that just when your external demands and internal demands make adjustments to meet each other. So a number of factors that can contribute how well people adapt to adversities are the ways which individuals view or engage the world. We like to call those the core beliefs, can impact resilience and the ability to show that resilience in time, the availability and quality of social resources. So really the support they have, the core beliefs they have, the support they have, and then their coping strategies, the things that they can do for themselves. So in resilience, those impact someone's ability to be resilient. And there's been a lot of research that demonstrates that resources and skills associated with positively overcoming adversity can be cultivated and practiced. They're not something someone's inherently born with. Being resilient, you might hear, oh, that one person, they're born resilient, born tough. But really improving your resilience and being more resilient in your life comes through practice and learning new things, like learning more coping strategies, learning different core beliefs and how they impact your core beliefs and how you engage with the world, and then accumulating more resources as well. So within resilience, those things all impact how you can be resilient. But really, I want to pose this question because this is what we're here for. So why do foster children need it? Why do foster children and really foster parents need to be resilient? What is the importance? Well, there's been a lot of research done that shows that it really is it's associated with health. The overall health and wellness of a child, of a parent, is impacted by their ability to be resilient and show resilience in times of trauma and times of adversity in their life. And it does affect lifelong health, whether that's emotional health, your social health, or just your physical health even. So there's some statistics that I've learned that I would like to share here. So 80% of people with binge eating disorders have experienced abuse, neglect, and other types of trauma. So 8 out of 10 people who have binge eating issues, whether that is an eating disorder or have troubles with obesity, about 80% of them have experienced abuse, neglect, or other types of trauma. So really, that comes down to 80% of pretty much our foster children might have binge eating disorders or problems that could be linked with other eating disorders or bulimia, and or just not knowing how to regulate your own health. So 80%. And that really does take a big impact on your physical health. So just to make sure that our kiddos have healthy eating habits, we want to make sure that we lower their or increase their resilience when trauma is to occur. And then another thing, so every type of abuse increases risks of PTSD by 47%. And every cumulative trauma increases the risk of a person making a suicide attempt by 33%. So really what that's saying is that every type of abuse, it just increases the risk of PTSD for that child. So that mental health seeping into their everyday life and making them capable of overcoming it might be decreased by their abuses. So teaching their resilience and recognizing that their need for resilience is there because they're already suffering those abuses. And then also they have a higher risk of committing suicide or making a suicidal attempt because of their cumulative traumas that they have. They have a lot of traumas that are stacked up on each other, whether it's loss of a home, loss of a loved one, abuse sustained, drug use. So making sure our foster children are resilient is in their best interest for their mental health and their ability to cope with the PTSD that they're likely to have and cope with the suicidal ideations or thoughts they likely are having as well. So then here's one more fact I learned from a ranging of studies. One was done by the University of Nevada. One was done by the American Psychological Association. That I've got all these facts from. I'm not just saying these things. I'm not just making up these facts. These are done by controlled studies either by universities or accredited associations. So going down at the bottom of the screen there, the likelihood of serious mental disorders in adulthood triples, and the risk of borderline personality increases 15 times. That's when those things triple and those things increase by those rates when a child has experienced an adverse childhood experience. So what that is abuse, neglect, struggle to maintain relationships, and trauma. So the likelihood of serious mental disorders while they're in adulthood triples when they have those high adverse childhood experiences and a lot of trauma. And then the risk of borderline personality disorder increases by 15 times when they have that childhood trauma that comes into their life. So they're very likely to have either a serious mental health disorder as well, and also they're more likely to have borderline personality disorder when that happens, and that can be a tough thing that goes into the serious mental health disorders, but that is just one specific one. They're that much more likely than the general population. There was, let's see if I have the statistics pulled up here. Let's see, 62%. So talking about those mental health associations with childhood traumas. Going back to this, that 62% of participants that had adverse childhood experiences were diagnosed with PTSD. That is the difference from only about 4% of people that had the average amount of adverse childhood experiences that had been diagnosed with PTSD. So there's major differences. And we really see the most adverse childhood experiences within our foster care children. So these mental health and physical health risks are only increasing every time they're exposed to trauma. So our children need to have this resilience. So that's really why it matters to us as a foster care organization. I like to bring in quotes and share things with the community. So why do children need it? So they need it to keep moving forward, and all the more appropriate to quote Martin Luther King here. It's just Martin Luther King Day not too long ago. So I thought it'd be appropriate. And this really demonstrates the resilience that we just need to keep moving forward. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. Whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. And that's really what we want to instill within our children. The more they experience trauma, the more their core beliefs are under attack, the harder it can be for them. And that's why resilience is so important. Because based on psychology today, psychological trauma can impact someone's association with their core beliefs. If they're able to overcome, if it is a direct attack on their core beliefs, it is harder for them to overcome that trauma and positively grow from that trauma and keep moving forward. So we need to teach methods of resilience and how we can be resilient within for our kiddos in foster care and to help teach our kiddos in foster care. So that's why our foster kiddos need it, because they have all these experiences of trauma and adverse childhood experiences that heighten their risk to have these negative outcomes later in life, like these mental health and physical health outcomes that can be really damaging to their livelihoods as adults. So that's why foster kiddos need resilience. That's why we talk about it so much in the foster care organizations and talks and whatever else you might hear from organizations that support foster children. Resilience is bound to be in their vocabulary in one talk or another, in one part of their mission statement. So why do our foster children need it? It's because their lives depend on it, on resilience. They are going to be experiencing these traumas, these abuses, and they need to be able to overcome it. So what can impact resilience? And I want to mostly focus on the positive. What can be done to positively impact this resilience? How can we build it up for our foster children who are experiencing this trauma? I want to focus mostly on foster children here. The foster parents have their own unique trauma that they're working through and the secondary trauma that they take on for their kiddos. And a lot of this can be associated for that. But we also want to make sure that we're purposely doing it for the kiddos. So I like to say, how can we impact this resilience positively? I'm going to talk about kiddos. Yes, it does apply to our parents. I want to say that we do so appreciate our parents and the trauma that they go through and sustain in order to support these kiddos. But let's talk about how can we positively impact positively impact resilience for our kiddos who have experienced trauma. So we want to do a few things. The American Psychological Association, they have a wealth of knowledge that is really great about multiple subjects, one of them being building your resilience and ways that you can recognize that you have an opportunity to build it. And, that doesn't mean not getting distressed or not having difficulties. That's a part of resilience, is experiencing those difficulties and that distress in order to then overcome it. So one way you can positively impact your resilience is build connections and prioritize your relationships, the ones that build you up and are supportive to you. And for our kiddos, that means encouraging them to do sports, engage with their teachers, engage with all of their care team, and building those connections can also mean joining a group, whether that's sports or their interests or an online even talk about how they're feeling and how they're doing. And then we need to also foster wellness to make sure our body is feeling fed and resilient so that it can physically feel good and it doesn't physically have to feel like it needs to be punished or experiencing trauma, especially when these trauma triggers come out and their bodies feel like they're in distress all over again. So we need to make sure we're taking care of our bodies, practicing the mindfulness that they need to be present, and then avoiding the negative outlets like the things that can damage your psyche, damage your wellness, is negative self-talk, not managing stress, and then also fostering resilience means also finding a purpose. What that means is, and you could do that by helping others, just being proactive in finding what makes you happy, and make goals and make plans to progress towards your goals. And that means that it could be goals of self-discovery, could be goals that are associated with your career, could be goals associated with making sure that wellness is there. And then just embracing the healthy thoughts and moving past the negative thoughts. Really, we can teach that through accepting change in people's lives, maintaining positive affirmations and helpful outlooks. And if all those are a struggle to do, ultimately seek help. If you do not know how to move forward and you do not know how to move past a tough time in your life that feels like is negatively impacting your physical health, your mental health, seek help. And we at JMC want to be people that connect you with those who can help you serve yourself by being resilient. So thank you, everyone. Sorry, that was a lot to say. I tried to squeeze a lot in there. But that was talking about our research into resilience and building it up. So thanks everyone who joined, who's been a part of JMC for a long time. But if you're curious about JMC and you do not know who we are and we stumble upon this, visit our website, leave a comment below what you think, how we're doing. Feel free to give us a call. You'll probably have me on the other line, if not one of our other amazing staff, and seeing how you might be able to improve resilience within a child or support JMC's mission and vision to support these children in foster care. So please give us a call or shoot me an email right down there. That'd be great. I would love to talk. Or if you're interested in fostering, just our foster's email will get you started. So thanks, everyone. Hope you have a blessed night and keep being resilient in the face of distress and struggle. You can do this.